Hi, we're here at Laughing Oak Farm with Autumn Barr. This is her creation with help from her husband and family. So this is the inaugural farm trail tour sponsored by Nevada County Grown, Briar Patch, and Nevada County Television. So welcome. This is our first farm visit. Autumn, it's a pleasure to be here. So tell us how Laughing Oak got its name.
Well, through years of trial and error, we weren't sure if the oaks were laughing at us or laughing with us. And we have some just gorgeous, huge oaks on the property.
Spectacular oaks. So what have you determined? Were they laughing at or with you?
Well, hopefully with us.
And how long have you been in operation now?
We've been here for nearly 5 years. In the last 2 years, we've really upped our production.
So what does that mean when you up your production?
It means that we're making weekly deliveries to Briar Patch.
Okay, so you're choosing to do that rather than be a CSA?
Yeah, Briar Patch makes it really easy. We can grow a certain thing. I know that they'll buy it, and I don't need to spend hours at a farmer's market or things while I'm a mom and wear many other hats.
That's great. I know Dave in produce does a wonderful job of organizing the farmers. And one thing the public needs to know is that Briar Patch has an approach that basically allocates and works with farmers so that there's not duplication and there's not as much competition. There's a collaboration that happens.
There is, and they go above and beyond and really out of their way to coordinate all of that. It's a lot of work for them, and it does make it so that I can grow as much red boar kale and golden beets as I possibly can, and someone else can grow as much of whatever the other thing is, and we can all sell it to them.
Here we are at the beginning of a tour with Autumn Barr, and you describe yourself in the farm as a micro farm. What does that mean?
Well, it means we're tiny. So our entire property is only 5.2 acres. And even if that were all flat and farmed, that would still be small in farm terms. But of our 5.2 acres, only 3/4 of an acre is cultivated. So that means we're growing our vegetables, orchards, flowers, all of that's within 3/4 of an acre. Then we also do rotational grazing on 1.5 acres of irrigated pasture.
And what are you grazing?
We are grazing alpacas and chickens.
Okay. And so you have a ready resource in compost material.
Yes. Yeah, we have lots of manure. We have lots of grass and other crops to compost.
That's great. And one of the things we'll look at is your compost pile. So let's go.
All right.
So here we are at Autumn's famous compost pile. It's amazing. It's really looks fantastic. You don't get a smell. So tell us a little bit about how this ended up to look so good.
Well, last October we got a tractor, and that really helps me turn the piles.
Right.
Previously, I had a lot of hand piles that were sizable, but it's a lot of work to turn unless you have that tractor. So we're turning it, we're watching its temperature, we're watering it as we turn, keeping the moisture. Most people's compost piles are too dry, so keep the water pumping in it.
Exactly.
And we're using inputs from our farm, like the alpaca manure, the chicken bedding, chicken manure. We're also using inputs from a feed store down the road when they have extra hay or straw that maybe got wet or moldy. We can compost that along with some wood chips.
All right, well, let's see some more of the garden.
All right.
So Autumn, you describe your farm as permaculture and biodynamic. Could you talk about what those terms mean?
Yeah, so we draw from both of those volumes of literature about what those things mean. So both of them focus on having kind of a closed loop system or striving for that. So we're taking our crop waste and our manures, we're composting them, we're taking that compost and reapplying that as our fertility. And we're really not importing other typical organic amendments, like your cornmeal and chicken meal, all of those blood meals to add fertility. We're creating it here. And the biodynamic component is that in addition to having that regenerative loop here, we're adding various preparations that can help with fertility and connecting the earth and the sky.
We can talk about that in a bit. Let's take a look at more of the garden.
All right.
So Autumn, you referred to the farm as using no-till methods. What does that mean?
It means that we're not tilling up the soil every year or multiple times a year. We feel like our plants do better when the biology in the soil at each level stays in place. And so whenever we harvest a crop, we're just cutting it out. We're not even pulling the roots out.
Oh.
And then we're adding more compost before we transplant in the next crop. And so we feel like we're feeding the biology there and keeping it alive and full of vitality to help the next thing that's growing.
And the term that's often being used these days is regenerative agriculture. So you're saying give the soil a chance to regenerate, don't disturb it. There's enough nutrients in it. If you take care of it properly, it will produce.
Yeah, there's enough there. And of course, farms are in the business of exporting. And so in some way we do need to import or give back to our soil. So we can't just take and take and take from it. So we're giving back in the form of compost here.
Great. So really it's a whole different approach. Not that farmers haven't looked at this before, but this is the idea of how do we best take care of the soil, the planet, each other.
Yeah.
You know, we're all linked.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're doing it on a scale where we can do that.
Right. In my opinion, every farm needs a flower garden. And looking around, the bees agree with me. So I want to thank you for a lovely visit on the farm trail. The first year that Nevada County Grown is doing this.
Yes.
Any last words you'd like to mention?
No, thanks for coming on the trail and sharing our story.
How about your website?
Our website is laughingoakfarm.com, and we also like to post lots of beautiful pictures on Instagram.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks again, and we'll be seeing you on the trail.